Hello YouTube channel. Boy, I got an exciting video here from this one. So I have a pending complaint against Rutland Regional Dispatch, which is the public safety E911 dispatch center for the town of Warren, police and fire and DPW. So I'm going to read you an email sent to the town of Rutland employees, including Rutland Regional Dispatch Supervisor Director Moriarty. This was sent March 19, 2019 at, looks like 11:06 a.m. Director Moriarty, I have a complaint to be filed against the RRECC, more so against 2 to 3 Town of Rutland employees that work underneath you. As you can see from Rutland Police Chief Monaco's email below, he said, you are the one responsible for the dispatcher's action and that I need to start with you, which is fine with me. And then I go on saying, I move the camera so you can read it. Should I gotta go down here? Okay, would you like my actual complaint in writing or can we speak over the phone? My complaint is over the data entry of falsification of public records of Rutland in Warren in several violations of Rutland's policies and procedures. As I explained to the chief below, I'm looking to come there and asking Rutland Police to press criminal charges against those of wrongdoing, specifically for Mass General Law 269, Section 13A, falsifying police records. Several counts. There are several discrepancies in the Monday, December 10, 2018, from the first public records request results you you provided me. The records are backwards from the audio recordings you provided me. I will await your reply. Respectfully submitted, Michael Baril. Okay, now I'm going to read you the next exciting thing. This is March 19, 2019, 2:21 p.m. Okay, let me screw it upwards. Sorry, I need the top of it here. So this is the meat and potatoes of the lie to the residents of Warren. Now you're about to know the truth. Director Moriarty and Police Chief Monaco. Here is the summary of my town employee complaint. Introduction. The past few months and as of today, the Warren Selectmen's office and the Warren Police Chief are in disaster mode. Warren Selectmen consists of 3 individuals, 2 that want to get rid of their chief and 1 that wants to keep their chief, and that person is the chief's ally. On Monday, 12/10/2018, I went to inform a Warren Town Hall employee that the police chief had given me records which contained the social security numbers of the planning board members. She blew up and stormed out and ran into the selectman's office to shout at Rebecca Acera, the Board of Selectmen secretary. Becky admitted to her that the police chief failed to redact their social security numbers when Becky handed me those records. She stated to her, Mike is right, comma, sue the chief, quote. Warren Selectmen Chair Mark W. Richard was in the room, and since he's the sole one that wants to keep the police chief, he got irate that I was telling Warren employees the police chief gave out employee social security numbers, and he directed his anger at me. I will then move the camera down. Let's see. Okay. He ended up assaulting me with threats, and Becky, their secretary, had to physically grab him to keep him from harming me. When he tried to pick up a chair and throw it at me, I left the room in fear for my life of getting harmed. At this point, the Selectman's office has 2 pending complaints that I filed against Chair Mark Richard dating back to June of 2018 that he knowingly covered up crimes of the police chief. The 2 other selectmen supported my complaints, but since Mark was the chair, he ordered the town council to squash his own complaints against himself. The town never wrote any reply back, and the testimony came from the other 2. Okay, so I'm going to forward this, and I'll adjust the camera to, let's see, keep going right here. Okay. So, Rutland Regional Emergency Communications Center. What transpired, the two Warren Selectmen advised me of. Mark knew that he was out of line and knew that he assaulted me in front of town employees. He then phone called Warren Police Chief Spakowski's cell phone. He then, in turn, phone called the RRECC, which is noted on your public records at 12:30 p.m. as a phone disturbance incoming call. The assault took place at 11:45 a.m. Your records show Chief Spakowski as the primary user ID when Dispatch 1, parentheses, Rutland employee Cindy Tamkis, created the call number. Okay, so now we have a, let's see, okay, go right here. So now I'm going to show this. Okay, so at 1:11 p.m., Dispatcher 1, which is Cindy Tamkis, data enters the involved parties. At 1:51 p.m., Dispatcher 1, Cindy Tamkis, takes my first incoming phone call. I explained in detail how I was assaulted and who the suspect was, etc. 1:58 p.m., Dispatcher 1 enters the narrative. Let me just see. Okay, I got to scroll down. Okay, here we go. So now you're about to learn, I'm about to show you that there is a pending complaint against Rutland Regional Dispatch Center employees for falsifying Warren police records on me and in something. Well, I'll explain something else later. Okay. Dispatcher 1 failed to data enter anything that I stated to her on the phone. It's all left out of the IMC software. You gave me this recording, and basically she falsified and lied in the records. The narrative she typed is none of anything I'm on the phone that's being recorded telling her. Where, how, and who gave her that data to enter into the IMC software. It didn't come from my testimony. She wrote 401, which is the police chief, Bruce, is obtaining statements from all parties involved, end quote. That is not a true statement, as no one from Warren Police ever talked to me, nor did Kathy Zub knew she was even listed in the IMC software. Mark Richard is listed in there by Dispatcher 1 as well. Okay, I'm going to scroll this, and I got to adjust the camera. Let's see. All right. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, right here. Okay. Okay. So 2:01 p.m., Dispatcher 1 enters the additional narrative, which is supposed to be my statement. She falsifies the data entry in this section too. There is more to this, but here is the summary of the whole story. And then now I'm going to go into Rutland Regional Emergency Communications Center, Town of Rutland employee problems. So I'm now proving to everybody in Warren and anybody watching this video that Rutland Regional Dispatch Center employees falsified records for Bruce Spakowski, committing felonies while working for the town of Rutland. And this is the email to the police chief of my complaint, and that's the police chief in Rutland, him and the fire chief are in charge of the Rutland Regional Dispatch Center, and according to the chain of command log that I have from the town of Rutland that they sent me. So number one, if you listen to your own audio recordings of how this all went down, RRECC, your own audio recordings incriminate Dispatcher 1, which is now identified as Cindy Tamkis, and we also have Dispatcher 2 involved, Kerry Bowles, in with this. Number two, what your own audio recordings reveal is Warren Police Chief Spakowski had already poisoned Dispatcher 1 and Dispatcher 2 of the assault at 12:30 p.m. by telling them that if I call in to report a complaint to just ignore me/it, which is exactly what Dispatcher 1 and Dispatcher 2 did, was knowingly falsify records for Warren Police Chief Spakowski. Number three, let me adjust this. Number 3, well, your own audio recordings also reveal, after I called and gave the detailed description of the assault suspect and how it happened, neither Dispatcher 1 or Dispatcher 2, unsure whose voice radioed 401 on the Warren Police radio, had been told in advance that if I were to call, let Chief Spakowski know. They did exactly that by following his instructions. 1 minute after I called, they radio him saying, quote, Bruce, or whatever, that idiot just called, give me a code 2, end quote. And that is in the audio recording. So we have Rutland Regional Dispatch Center dispatchers saying, that idiot just called, give me a code 2, which is call me on the phone. He's then on your own audio recording slandering me that I faked the assault and that he, meaning Bruce, admitted that he had already pre-notified the Mass State Police Brookfield Barracks. He also notified East Brookfield Court to squash any complaints or filings that I tried to file against Selectman Chair Mark Richard. So the chief knew by Mark's own admission prior that Mark in fact did assault me in the Warren Selectmen's office. And the chief and Mark are friends to renew his contract that was pending during executive sessions. So he knowingly tampered with my rights to file a police report at Rutland Regional Emergency Communications Center, Mass State Police, in the East Brookfield Court. Okay, moving right along, should be number 4, yes. Okay, Town of Rutland, provide me records results of this day, but you also have further additional problems. A, there is no record of Warren Police Chief Spakowski calling Rutland Regional Emergency Communications Center at 12:30 p.m., which was also the first initial contact to create the call number. Rutland RRECC records show no incoming phone call nor no two-way radio transmission. So how did Dispatcher 1 create a Warren Police Department entry if you have no records on how she created the IMC Warren Police Department record? B, there is no record at RRECC records that show my second and third incoming phone call to your dispatch center. Why are both these calls missing from your IMC police records? Number C, there is no record in RRECC records that shows where and how Dispatcher 1 got the, quote, 3 involved party names from. She had to have someone provide her the list of names as she's identified as data entering them. But your records show no incoming phone calls, no incoming police radio traffic, and there is no chain of custody proving how those who from Warren gave those 3 names to the dispatcher for her to enter them in. So obviously a Rutland dispatcher just doesn't go, okay, an assault took place. In my telepathic memory it says, okay, that's, I'm going to list Mark Richard. Okay, then I'm going to list Kathy Zub. Right. Those Warren Police Department provided those names for her to data enter, and there's no chain of custody at all between the town of Warren and there. And the town of Rutland has not proven to me beyond a doubt, or hasn't proven to me at all, how Cindy Tamkis magically got those names. I know the answer to that. I'm not going to publicly say it, but there will be litigation against the town of Rutland between something in the future. So Rutland has a lot of problems to answer for. That includes the dispatcher center supervisor and the police chief, because he received this. Well, I'm going to get into that in a minute. So, okay, number D, there is no record in RRECC records that shows how Dispatcher 1 got my name identity. She data entered that prior to me calling your dispatch center. So, in other words, my name is already in the police computer before I even call the police station. Before I even call them. So how the hell does that happen? She data entered that prior to me calling RRECC before I gave her my identity over the phone. She data entered me at 1:11 p.m. and I hadn't even called her yet. So how does RRECC get my name in the system to data enter into and there's no chain of custody in that first initial thing that Bruce initiated on how my name appeared in there with my name, date of birth, social security number, address, all that stuff. I provided that later in the day and they already had it in there. So obviously somebody's lying somewhere in the town of Rutland in the dispatch center. E, there is no record in RRECC records that displays that I was the victim of a crime, which I clearly stated in your own audio recording, which is true. I stated I was a victim of a crime and they never no Rutland employees even data entered that in there. It was totally left out. So everything I said for the 12-minute or whatever it was phone call was never put in any report or even not even put in the log. Nothing. So all they did, they just logged that I called and then that like I just said absolutely nothing. So these people committed felonies for Bruce Spakowski as you're starting to learn here. F, there is no record in RRECC records that displays that Mark Richard was the suspect, which I clearly stated in your own audio recording. So again, Mark Richard is not even listed as a suspect in a crime, even though I said it on audio recording that they provided me. So I guess, so that proves to me they didn't listen to the audio recording before they gave me the records because they just incriminated themselves that they committed felonies by falsifying records for Bruce. Number G, since the date, I still don't have the Warren Police Report number 18-286-OF. Warren Selectmen less Mark Richard told me that I'm listed as the suspect. Mark Richard and Kathy Zub are listed as witnesses against me, and that false and malicious police report claims that I beat up Mark Richard on the floor, he was bloodied and battered, and that he was transported to the hospital. Whoa, holy shit, what the hell happened here? As of last Tuesday, Warren Selectmen know that Police Chief Spakowski falsified their own report in an attempt to frame me for criminal charges that he made up. So the entire log entry and police report are backwards because Spakowski ordered other outside employees in the town of Rutland to tamper with Rutland and Warren police records to protect Chair Mark Richard from being charged on the assault on me in the Warren Selectmen's office. Now you're starting to all understand the big picture. As you can see, I'm claiming that select Town of Rutland employees, quote, committed felonies while on duty, end quote, and that's why I'm serious asking that Rutland Police investigate whether Rutland Regional Dispatch Center employees knowingly falsified IMC police records for the personal gain of Warren Police Spakowski's orders to RRECC employees, and I want to press criminal charges against all of them for this matter. Like I stated to Chief Monaco, RRECC has a lot of explaining to do where you have a lot of missing communication records between Dispatcher 1, Dispatcher 2, and Warren Police employees. I'm sure when you ask Dispatcher 1, identified as Cindy Tamkus, T-A-M-K-U-S, where did she get the names from and how did she get them? Parentheses, by phone, radio, my personal opinion, which I think was personal cell phone text messages, has been happening. So it's off the town of Rutland's public records, which is illegal. And yes, I have a request. When do you plan to interview Cindy and or Kerry about the missing IMC data? And I'd prefer to be there in the room with them, as I would like to have the opportunity to cross-examine your employees when they are spoken to by Mr. Moriarty or Chief Monaco. In my opinion, I should have the right to question them, and they are responsible for the data entered into the IMC in Rutland town owned to computer equipment. Data entered into the town-owned Rutland computers, okay? Respectfully submitted, me, Michael Baril. Okay, then we have further problems. So scrolling down here, right here is, okay, I'm going to love this one. Okay, so I sent an email to the town manager, the town administrator, the police chief, and dispatcher supervisor, Michael Moriarty. This is now March 19, 2019, 4:06 p.m. Sorry, but I now need to add 2 more Rutland Regional employees to my complaint, so a total of 4. I'm adding Michelle Sandburn and Phyllis Chartier. I just studied my cell phone call log, and I have 1 phone call to RRECC during the 3 to 11 p.m. shift on Monday, 12/10/2018 shift. Neither above data entered nothing that I called in at 3:58 p.m. And the call at 7:04 p.m. And the call from my cell phone was 7 minutes and 4 seconds long. This set of records also appears missing from your RRECC records keeping. I obviously spoke with one of the two on duty. So we now have 4 of the 7 Rutland Regional dispatchers that have allegedly committed, well, they definitely, two at least committed felonies, and then there's a question whether it's Michelle or Phyllis are responsible for another felony here. So as you can see, I'm proving to you that Rutland Regional Dispatch basically violated the rights of Warren citizens, voters, taxpayers, everything. So in other words, this is just one example. As I just explained what the truth is that happened, I didn't do anything to anybody from Rutland. I didn't do anything to Mark Richard. Mark Richard was not on the floor bloodied and battered, which the Rutland dispatchers and Bruce Bukowski entered into the system. So as you can see, that Bruce is no longer here now, the Warren police chief, he's gone. And this is part of the reason why Bruce is gone. So for those of you that think he retired, he didn't retire, he ran away because he had to resign because this was going to bite him in the ass and be responsible for a lawsuit against the Warren voters, and also a lawsuit against the town of Warren, making them responsible for $3 million in a settlement for this. So as you can see, that there are credibility issues and over the trust issues of Rutland Regional Dispatch Center. So my personal opinion is, should Rutland Regional Dispatch Center be dispatching for those towns now? No. Should they be issued a cease and desist order? Yes. Should they all be criminally charged and arrested for fabricating records in the case to me? Yes. Should they be shut down? Yes. Should they lose their E911 license? Yes. Because this here, they sent me the records that are public records that they signed off that they gave to me. Their own records incriminate them that they committed felonies. And as you can see from this email, and maybe you can't see over here on this side, but March 19 at 4:06 p.m., that was the last email to the police chief, the fire chief, the Rutland Selectmen office, and the Rutland Town Administrator. No response to that complaint. Well, of course they're not going to respond because they realize they fucked up and sent me the evidence that incriminates them. So I'm still waiting for them to contact me regarding the status of this complaint, and apparently they don't give two shits, so I don't give a fuck about them either. But I guess it's time for me to get a lawyer and to sue the town of Warren over what Bruce did. It's now time for me to sue the town of Rutland and its dispatchers and the employees personally, including those 4 names, and the dispatcher center supervisor, Michael Moriarty, and let them pay a $250,000 settlement or whatever each, because obviously they know they committed felonies by falsifying records. There is no way that when you call and you get your own audio recording and I say, yes, this is what happened, and they say back to you, oh yes, I just typed that all in there, and then you get the record and none of it's in there, well, you're a lying fucking piece of shit. So at this point in time, I don't care what the town of Rutland does, but it's the responsibility of the Warren Selectmen's office to fix this mess, because Bruce is the one that initiated this. Bruce poisoned Rutland Regional Dispatch to commit felonies, and they did it. They should have known that they shouldn't commit felonies, and they should just do their job and say to Bruce, look, we're not going to lie, we're not going to falsify records for you. You might lie in your records, but it turns out we're not going to lie in our records. Well, it's too late because Rutland Regional Dispatch did it. So I'm going to end this video. I wanted to give you guys an education of what's been happening. And if they committed all these felonies for me, I'm sure they've committed dozens and hundreds and whatever of felonies for other citizens in Warren. So please contact the Warren Selectmen's office, 413-436-5701, extension 2. You can speak. The selectman might be there, they might not be there. Please leave a message with the secretary or voicemail. I encourage anybody to, as a class action lawsuit, which is what I'm looking at right now, suing between the town of Warren, and I will actually love to have some executive session between me and the Warren Selectmen's office to pinpoint this all in the town of Rutland. it has been some of the past discussion. So I'd be willing to wash Warren's hands of this and pin it all on Rutland. But Rutland's going to come back probably wanting to sue Bruce because he's the one that initiated it to them, and they should have known better than to commit felonies and falsify records anyhow. So, but they did it, and it's too late. So, and you know, and as I said, this is March 19th. We're now on in July here, so obviously the town doesn't, town of Rutland doesn't give two shits, and I don't give two shits about them. So I hope they go out of business, and that's about it. And that's what they deserve, to be put out of business at this point in time. And I'm going to put them out of business. So that's about it. So anyhow, thanks for watching the video. And on my YouTube channel, remember to go down the bottom, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and click the notifications button, which is the little bell icon. Thanks very much.